What we're going to see today is how easy it is to create a smart knowledge base on top of extended ECM thanks to Model Suite, its API, and its integration with large language model API providers. So what we want to do is basically take a space inside extended ECM and being able to upload documents there and then interact with the content of those documents through natural language and the interaction with artificial intelligence. So let's get started. So the first thing that we need to know is go into the space, and what I'm going to do is to create a smart page. So a smart page will be basically the content of the sidebar that I'm going to associate to the perspective of the space, where the interaction with the agent will be possible. So now is what I need to do is to edit this page, and I can just drop a content script result tile, and I am going to configure. So ask the expert. I give it a title, and I can give it an icon. So something like this, not make it expandable. No need to be scrollable, no need to load the configuration. I can select the newly created smart page here as a data source. And this step is completed. So now we have created a perspective with a sidebar. Inside here, we are going to display the widget that we're going to use to interact with the AI. So to do that, we go and edit the smart page. And what we can do is to drop the smart, so the car widget. So our integration with LLM API provider comes with Verista. So the content script services are required to actually perform integration, but also all these widgets that you can utilize in the context of smart pages and beautiful web forms to define the user interface. And the widget will allow you to define the prompts and the appearance of the widget itself, but we also allow you to tune elements of the model that you're going to utilize. So for example, here I can change the name of the model that I'm going to use, and I can instruct the widget about the fact that I'm going to basically create a smart knowledge base. So I want the system to be able to collect information from a space inside of content server. With the inject button, I will ask the system to automatically generate the code required to support this widget. We can now switch back to our perspective, reload the page, and we should be already able to interact with our widget. So for example, what is your name? And the system is going to answer accordingly to the prompt that we have specified in the configuration. So next step is actually being able to upload documents here and basically extract from the documents the information, so basically the content, in a way that is that these models, large language models, can handle. So that is a complex process that involves creating embeddings and extracting text. Likely, Model Suite comes with all the APIs that are required to perform the task. So what I'm going to do is going back to my smart pages, and I'm going to open the controller because we are going to modify that code that has been automatically generated to accommodate our needs. So what we basically need to do is to look at the action that is executed every time you send a request to the agent. So here is the request, and to get where the context is extracted. So basically where the action is, the request is utilized to extract the context from the knowledge base and determine which piece of content is more related to the request. So what we need to do is basically to modify this get context. So here we have various options. As you see, basically what the system does, because the way it's configured, we configure the widget is automatically tries to load indexes that corresponds to documents on the space that we have configured as a knowledge base. These indexes might not exist. So you can implement different strategies in order to create these indexes. So you can, for example, implement asynchronous content script event handler that creates the script, these indexes every time the documents are uploaded into the folder, or you can create schedule script that perform the same task, or as in this case, you can just perform the task whenever a new interaction is required. So what I'm going to do is to modify slightly this piece of code. So I'm going to filter every document, because in the folder I don't have only documents. So final it dot die equal to 144, and we are going to perform something for them with them. So first thing is we're going to iterate over all these documents, and I rename the it variable, and we are going to, we do not have to forget to add this to the indexes list so that everything else is the same. So what we are going to do is to first of all check if an index exists. So if index exists, and this is basically the document.id as a string. If does not exist, we're going to build one. Luckily, I don't have to remember the code that is required for creating a new index, because Model Suite comes with a snippet that does exactly that. So as you see, I selected the snippet and inject the code, and I have now just to fix it a bit. So because the snippet is supposed to work on a static document, while we are going basically to, we already have a document to 10. And everything else looks the same. So what we can do now is just save it, and we are already ready to test. And we can now start testing the application. So to test, I have a PDF document containing the owner's manual for a Tesla Model Y, and I'm going to use it as a test. So I can ask a question directly here. So, for example, how can I start my Tesla? And as you'll see, the first time you ask a question and the system needs to generate the index will take a while. Obviously, the index generation, as I mentioned, you can implement different strategies. So can, for example, be performed on an asynchronous event, or can be performed on a scheduled basis. As you see now, the system is basically extracting the information from the document that we provided and is producing me a meaningful answer. So what is important to know is that the index needs to be created only once. So if I load the page and I ask the exact same question, so how can I start my Tesla? This time the question will be answered much quicker, because the system already has a index for the document. The widget can be utilized, as I mentioned. It's a smart page widget, so it can be utilized whenever a smart page can be used. So it can be utilized, as in this case, as part of the perspective in a sidebar, can be utilized in another tab, can be utilized in a panel. So say that, for example, I don't want to have a sidebar here. So what I can do is, for example, to remove the smart page from the sidebar, and I'm going to associate it to a custom panel directly to the object. So to do that, what I need to do is to go into my content script volume and search for CS Smart View, meta panels, and I'm going to create a panel definition. So ask AI. This will be my panel definition script. So, and in here, what I need to do is basically to provide the definition for the panel. So the title of the panel and the smart page implementing the panel. And I have that information here. So this is the smart page that we have just created. I can save it and now take the name of the smart page and I'm going to create an override configuration. So I want the panel to be associated to every space in content server. So I can create a global configuration script. And what this global configuration script is going to do is basically going to add this additional panel for every folder in my system. So I can save it, go back in here. I will be able to reload my perspective. And now if I go into the properties of this object and among the different panels, I will have ASCII, same widget, same interaction. So how can I start my Tesla? And then the widget will work exactly the same and you will have the exact same results and exact same information. The integration with OpenAI also allows me to perform more interesting things. So I can instruct the agent and allow the agent to actually call actions on my system. So OpenAI implements this concept in the forms of functions. So what you can basically instruct the model with is a list of functions that you support and let the agent invoke on your side these actions or functions. Let me show you an example of what it means. So what I've created here is a similar configuration as the previous one that I just showed you. So have a smart page that I've configured to present this time this ticket AI agent. So what this ticket does is to assist me into registering support tickets. So I can ask him what it is able to do. What can you do for me? And he will be basically explaining me that is going to assist me in creating or registering a ticket. So what I implemented as a ticket here is a business workspace that can be configured and will be configured by the agent itself. So let me show you an example. Okay, I need to register a ticket. ID will be 1234. Subject issues in installing model suite on CentOS 8. And I guess I don't have to instruct it about the product because in the subject, it should be able to automatically detect that model suite is the affected product, the affected product. And as a matter of fact, we have model suite among the products that we have in our system register. So I can try. And what the system is now basically doing is in getting a sense of my request and utilizing the information instructed to generate a new business workspace, issue number 1234, and is generating a link that I can use to automatically go into that workspace. As you see, as I mentioned, it was also able to understand that Model Suite was the affected product and automatically created the related workspace relationship by itself. So I didn't have to specify the product explicitly. And here it is. So my fully configured workspace ready to be utilized and ready to be used for performing my tasks. So let's see how that was implemented. So once again, we have our smart page. Smart page, we can go into the controller. So what we changed this time in the code was just that we added the this function definition. So we add the register issue function, and we specify what the function can be utilized for, what parameters it takes. And basically, we also provide basically the content script that will be executed when asked by the agent. So what we're basically to do is to create a business workspace, passing in information about the ID, current date, the subject that the system automatically extracted, and then is performing a search on our system to look at if we have a business workspace related to the product. And if it finds just one, it's going to create a business relationship between the two systems. So, and again, as a matter of fact, I actually have in my workspaces, among my workspaces here, I have a workspace for the Model Suite product. Okay. And that's it. Everything else was it's the same widget configuration that we have seen. So the only thing that we did in this case was to change a bit the configuration. So we changed obviously the header, we changed the prompt, etc. But nothing more than that. And I hope to be able to see many of you at the enterprise world this year. So we are at pod 420, and we'll be there, and we'll be there to show you what it is possible with Model Suite integrating AI, but not only.